fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The scent of ozone and damp earth always brought her back. Back to the clearing, back to the storm, back to the moment everything changed. I hated the smell. It clung to my clothes, seeped into my skin, a constant reminder of my failure. I am Aloan, Warden of the Westmark. My duty is to protect the border between the mortal realm and the Wildwood, a place teeming with magic both beautiful and deadly. For centuries, my family has held this responsibility, each generation inheriting the wardstones that keep the balance. But I inherited more than wardstones. I inherited a curse, or maybe it was a blessing, I couldn't tell anymore. It started on my 18th birthday during the ritual marking my ascension to Warden. A summer storm raged, the wind howling like a banshee, the lightning illuminating the ancient trees surrounding the clearing. We were chanting, my parents, the village elders, and me, when the lightning struck. Not the wardstones, not the circle, but me asterisk. I didn't feel pain, just a surge of raw power, followed by an emptiness so profound it threatened to swallow me whole. And then, asterisk her asterisk. Seraphina. She materialized from the lightning, shimmering and incandescent, her eyes the color of molten gold. She wore a dress woven from storm clouds, her hair a tangle of silver threads. She looked at me, and it felt like the world stopped turning. Mine, she whispered, her voice echoing in my head. And then she vanished, leaving behind only the smell of ozone and the growing realization that my life would never be the same. For weeks I dismissed it as a hallucination, the result of the lightning strike and the immense pressure of the ritual. But then the dreams started, dreams of soaring through the clouds with Seraphina, of dancing beneath a silver moon in a hidden grove, of feeling her cool hands on my skin. The dreams were so real, so vivid, that I woke each morning aching with a longing I couldn't explain. I threw myself into my duties, patrolling the border, strengthening the wards, trying to forget the storm, the lightning, and the woman who haunted my dreams. That's when I found her, truly found her, not in a dream, but at the market. She was selling woven tapestries depicting scenes from the Wildwood, intricate and breathtakingly beautiful. Her stall was tucked away in a corner, overlooked by most, but I saw her immediately. She was different from the vision in the storm, softer. Her hair was the color of spun moonlight, not the harsh silver of my dreams. She wore a simple linen dress, her hands stained with dyes, but her eyes, they were still the same, molten gold, burning with an ancient power. "Those are extraordinary," I said, my voice barely a whisper. She looked up, her gaze meeting mine, and a slow, knowing smile spread across her face. "They are, aren't they? I weave the stories I see, the stories the wind whispers." "And what stories does the wind whisper to you?" I asked, suddenly desperate to know. "Secrets," she said, her voice a low hum. "Secrets of forgotten magic, secrets of the Wildwood, and secrets of you." I felt a shiver run down my spine. "Secrets." She nodded. "You carry a power you don't understand, Aloan Warden." She knew my name. "A power that resonates with mine. We are connected, you and I, by a thread woven by the storm itself." I didn't know what to say. I wanted to deny it, to tell her she was mistaken, but the truth was written in her eyes. I felt it too, a pull, a connection that was undeniable. "Who are you?" I finally managed to ask. "I am Seraphina," she said, extending her hand. Her touch was cool, like the night air, but it sent a jolt of energy through me. "A weaver of the Wildwood, and I believe we have much to discuss." Our meetings became a ritual. Every week I would find her at the market, and we would talk for hours. She told me about the Wildwood, about the ancient magic that flowed through its veins, about the creatures that dwelled within its depths. She told me about her craft, about how she could see the threads of magic that connected all things, and how she wove them into her tapestries. I in turn told her about my duties, about the responsibility of guarding the border, about the fear of failing my people. I told her about the loneliness that came with being a warden, the isolation of holding so much power. With each meeting, the connection between us deepened. I found myself drawn to her in a way I couldn't explain. Her presence soothed the restless magic within me, calmed the storm that raged in my soul. She was everything I wasn't, free, unbound, connected to the wild magic of the world. I was everything she wasn't, responsible, bound by duty, burdened by the weight of tradition. And yet we were drawn together like moths to a flame. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the market square, Serafina showed me something new. She took me to her workshop, a small cottage on the edge of the wildwood, filled with the scent of herbs and the soft hum of spinning wheels. She led me to a loom, larger than any I had ever seen, its frame made of polished wood and adorned with intricate carvings. On the loom was a tapestry unlike any she had ever shown me. It depicted a woman with hair the color of midnight, standing on the edge of a forest, her eyes glowing with an inner light. Beside her stood a figure cloaked in storm clouds, her hand outstretched. "This is us," I said, my voice trembling. Serafina nodded. "This is the story of our becoming, the story of the Warden and the Weaver, the story of the balance between the mortal realm and the wildwood." She turned to me, her eyes burning with an intensity that made my heart race. "You have a power you don't understand, Eloan, a power that can change everything, but you need to learn to control it, to embrace it." "How?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She stepped closer, her breath warm on my skin. "I can teach you, but it will require trust. It will require you to let go of your fear, your doubts, your burdens." She raised her hand, her fingers tracing the outline of my jaw. "Are you ready, Eloan? Are you ready to embrace your destiny?" I looked into her eyes, and I saw not just the Weaver, but the storm itself. I saw the power, the magic, the endless possibilities that lay within me, and I knew, with a certainty that resonated deep within my soul, that I was ready. I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. "I am ready." Serafina smiled, a slow, knowing smile that sent a shiver down my spine. "Then let us begin." She led me to the center of the room, and she began to chant. Her voice was low and melodic, weaving a spell of ancient power. The air around us shimmered, the shadows danced, and I felt the magic within me begin to stir. She told me to close my eyes, to focus on the energy that flowed through my veins, to embrace the storm within me. I did as she instructed, and as I did, I felt a shift, a release. The power that had been dormant within me for so long began to awaken, surging through my body like a tidal wave. I saw visions, the wildwood blooming in vibrant colors, the wardstones glowing with renewed energy, the border between the realms blurring and dissolving. And then I felt it, Serafina's hand in mine, guiding me, grounding me. Her presence was a beacon in the chaos, a light in the darkness. Together we channeled the power, weaving it into a new form, shaping it into something beautiful, something powerful. But as the power reached its peak, I felt a surge of fear, a wave of doubt. What if I failed? What if I lost control? What if I destroyed everything? The fear threatened to overwhelm me, to shatter the fragile connection between us. And then I heard a voice, Serafina's voice, clear and strong, cutting through the doubt. "Trust me, Eloan, trust yourself. You are stronger than you know." I took a deep breath and I let go. I released my fear, my doubts, my burdens. I embraced the storm within me and I let it rage. And then everything went white. When I opened my eyes, I was no longer in the cottage. I was standing on the edge of the wildwood, beneath a sky filled with stars. Serafina stood beside me, her hand still in mine. She looked at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of pride and concern. "You did it, Eloan. You unleashed your power, but something is wrong." I looked around and I saw it. The wardstones were shattered, the border was crumbling, and the wildwood was seeping into the mortal realm. "What have I done?" I whispered, my voice filled with despair. Serafina shook her head. "It's not your fault. The balance has been broken for a long time. You just accelerated the process." "But what do we do now?" I asked, my voice trembling. Serafina looked at me, her eyes filled with determination. "Now we fix it together." She took my hand and together we stepped into the wildwood. And as we did, I felt the storm within me begin to calm, replaced by a sense of purpose, a sense of hope. But as we venture deeper into the wildwood, seeking a way to repair the broken balance, we find ourselves not only battling magical beasts and treacherous landscapes, but also the growing darkness within Serafina herself. Her connection to the wildwood, once a strength, is now twisting her, whispering promises of power and control. The closer we get to the heart of the problem, the further she seems to slip away. Can I save her in the realms before it's too late? Before she becomes the very thing we're fighting against?